Caitlin Clark is being undermined by the Indiana Fever's 5 poor players. Let's be honest. Caitlin Clark took on the burden of the league's interest as she started her second WNBA season on her back was a huge target. Expectations were high following a record-breaking year in 2025. In his first season, he averaged 19.4 points per contest and had the most assists in the league, but the Indiana Fever have persevered. Incredibly untrustworthy rather than departing. In actuality, there are a few significant shortcomings. We are currently examining the 5 players on this roster. Players, starting with a player who poses the greatest threat at number 1 who put an end to the Caitlin Clark era. 5th place goes to Sydney Carlson. It seemed like a straightforward plan. On February 5, 2025, the Fever signed Sydney Carlson, bringing in an experienced player to, on paper, help the younger players and maintain order in the locker room. She has such an experienced voice on the court. Despite her ghostly presence, she has only averaged 2.5 points this season, 2 assists and 0.8 rebounds in less than 11 minutes per game. Consists of 28 games, and she hardly ever appears in lineups. When it's most important, T35, her playing has completely stopped. She appears shy even when she plays. Her slow pace ruins momentum. For a group that depends on speed, quick cuts, and ball motion at guards with a capacity to fire when Clark is ideal for making crucial plays, moving quickly, and acting without hesitation. Carlson dribbles excessively, makes late passes that impede the attack. He hesitates on open shoots. Even though he was a leader off the court, she is wasting her youthful gaming time. Players who are passionate about the game. Brianna Turner is the 4th. The surrounding circumstances. Even more annoying is Brianna Turner. It's not that she's struggling, rather, there were high expectations for her. Turner, a superb defensive player and former first-round selection pick, was well known for his tenacity, intensity and the ability to block shots, and no one has seen this player. Season. Even though only 20% of shots from, she is grabbing 0.9 rebounds and scoring an incredible 0.4 points per game. Additionally, 0.2 assists per game in 14 games. This year, she hasn't played for more than 60 minutes. These numbers are low, but they also have a poor history. As a forward, Turner should take control of the glass, roll forcefully to the hoop, and set up strong screens for Clark. Rather, she glides through belongings, doesn't make the most of her size, and barely poses a threat. Danger. She rarely uses defensive language when speaking, and her body language makes it clear that she is disengaged. Turner's minutes are now, so find a team that wants to give Caitlin as much time as possible on the court. Kelsey Mitchell comes in 3rd. Kelsey Mitchell's scoring history makes this one contentious. She has been the person to turn to since joining the league in 2018 as a Fever bucket getter. She averaged more than 18 points per game the season before. Her average is still about 16.6 this year. The fit is more important than the numbers. Caitlin Clark is driving now. The motivation behind the attack. The team should gain from the ball passing through her hands. Her creation of plays. However, Mitchell continues to play like the starting guard, dribbling excessively, holding the ball for long stretches of time and using isolated objects to generate rhythm. When Clark is in possession of the ball, the offense of the Fever hums. The rhythm slows, the flow stops, and the spacing decreases as Mitchell takes over. The team is in a lot of pain, more than what the box score indicates, because of her unwillingness to adapt, which is causing a conflict. Styles. Defenders are aware of the strategy. Make Mitchell take the difficult shots, slow down, and relax. She is capable of making those shots, but this team rarely needs them. The main issue is this clash of styles. A once-in-a-generation creator and a ball-dominant striker are just not a suitable combination. Mitchell is not happy with the ball. She doesn't play catch and run, and her defense is still subpar. You want a threat next to Clark. Sue Heron switches when competing guards arrive. Clark is forced to take charge. After working so hard, she can't risk getting sick with more work. July, her groin. There's also the impending contract. Drama. When he achieves unrestricted freedom. Agency, Mitchell allegedly desires the highest compensation. But should Indiana actually bear the expense, the bill? You build around Caitlin Clark and AIA Boston when they are your cornerstones. Shooters, protectors, and selfless role models. Mitchell still wants to be the alpha even though it is no longer appropriate. 2nd place goes to Dyrus Dantes. The plan was made clear in 2024 when Indiana hired Dyrus Dantes to keep up the offensive. There should be rebounding muscle, paint toughness, and floor spacing. However, the effect hasn't kept up. She only scores 5.0 points and 2 points while shooting less in 2025 with the resume. More than 38% in the field, 2.4 rebounds every game. For a forward who is meant to finish inside, that is far too low. And spread out the ground. She slowly turns. When things get tough, she totally vanishes and her transition defense is slow. A key component of Clark's strategy is timing. She needs partners who are prepared to drive and take breaks. To ignite the defense. Dantas is hesitant. Momentum, rhythm, and possessions are all destroyed in that moment of uncertainty. The same is true on defense. Power forwards with the ability to close out, switch, and guard the rim are in high demand in the modern WNBA. All three of those late closeouts are difficult for Dantas to handle. Silent dialogue. Heavy feet leave gaps that Clark fills. When it comes to drama in the locker room, she's hardly toxic. In a passive sense, she is toxic. While younger, more eager players watch from the bench, an experienced player keeps playing. First up is Natasha Howard. On paper, Natasha Howard is the biggest burden on Caitlin Clark's system. She was the perfect signer. In reality, it has been a slow-motion letdown for the former All-Star, 3-time WNBA champion, and established paint presence. Howard has averaged 11.66 points, 6.8 rebounds, and 1.4 assists through 2025 T first glance. It seems robust. But then the disgusting part is revealed. 41% of the floor is not being hit by her. That is a warning sign for a forward who resides in the basket with the arc miss bunnies. Poorly timed putbacks and short shots that clank off the iron have all turn into the standard. Forward who can stretch defenses with a reliable jumper or finish. Clark's approach demands compassion. Around the edge, Howard is also struggling. She doesn't pass away brutally. She wanders away from the basket while, when she picks and rolls, her touch is all over the place. Move the ball. There is more pressure on Clark to keep the momentum going because of Howard's erratic play and scoring, a responsibility that no point guard must be independent rather than dependable. She sensed the presence she had entered. Defense is clearly declining. In the past, Tasha Howard was a switch that put anyone who defended in jail. Them, being able to quickly rotate, sharpen closeouts, and defend several areas without blinking. However, the eruption stops around age 32 because she is currently being beaten. Her footwork is precise on the first step, and her revolutions come too late. When the guards catch a glimpse of her, they cover and launch an unrelenting attack. She is now a defensive target rather than a defensive anchor, and enthusiasm is equally important in this situation as skill. Pay attention to her non-verbal clues. Reluctant to return to defense after making mistakes, hunch shoulders. Little to no response following unsuccessful shots. Teammates make a big play when timeouts occur. She is not the experienced, involved voice this young Fever squad needs. She is aloof in contrast to Caitlin Clark, who constantly compliments her teammates and draws attention to their flaws, and motivating the team even. That level of urgency must be communicated despite her injuries. It doesn't with Howard. The difference in expectations is massive. Howard's character was not introduced. She was one of the highest paid veterans in Indiana and was anticipated to work closely with Aaliyah Boston. Rather, she has turned into a hindrance. She consumes time that could be spent on players like Chloe BBY and Michaela Onyenwere. Hinders and slows down the offensive. Players who run the floor, cut hard, and move with purpose should be spaced apart. Possibilities for change are: Howard's tardiness in making decisions led to his elimination. Howard is too far behind Clark. Someone will search for a cutter or caravan by applying pressure to the ball. She eliminates simple scoring opportunities and gives defenses time to reorganize. Chances if she resets after catching the pass rather than attacking. Half-second delays are inefficient. Potential at the moment, Howard stands for every issue in this system in addition to material belongings. Inconsistent speed, shaky self-assurance, and productivity that isn't worthy of the salary. Clark requires a prepared shooter. When she calls for a switch, kicks, and drives, she wants trustworthy assistance. She also needs every voice be heard when the huddle starts. This season, Howard hasn't supplied any of it. For Indiana, this is a watershed moment. The Fever have the most talked about player in the league and a sizable fan base made up mostly of beginners. The ideal partner for pick and roll. She permits defenses to heal for Boston and Clark's companion. Consequently, if she does catch Easy scoring opportunities are eliminated by the pass and resets rather than attacking these wasteful half-second delays. Both resources and potential. Howard currently stands for every flaw in this system. Erratic speed, erratic confidence, and unworthy output of the pay. Clark kicks and drives. A ready shooter is what she needs. She needs trustworthy assistance when she asks for a modification. She wants everyone to be heard when the huddle starts. None of it has ever been offered at this time of year. By Howard. For Indiana, this is a watershed moment. The Fever is the most talked about. The league's talent. A sizable rookie fan base and the ideal pick-and-roll partner for Boston and Clark. However, victory is not the same as. To become competitive, one must make decisions based on reason rather than emotion. If the deadweight is not removed. If done correctly, Indiana might burn through Clark's prime and possibly lose her completely. The formula is simple. Be year-round athletes who can match her pace, protect her body, and improve her game intelligence. Talent is not the only factor. It all comes down to understanding your labor, exerting effort, and giving in to the needs of the group. As a result, Lexi Hall is secure as if it were personal. She defends, enters the offensive flow with ease, and makes an impact without making any contact. Sophie Cunningham discovers that, in the same circumstance, even though they don't have the most impressive name or are the team's best player, as a scorer, she adds enthusiasm, commitment, and presence. On March 15th, it wasn't a horrible ejection against Connecticut. 1. There was a message. You deal with me when you see Caitlin. Michaela Ionian is still uncooked. As though she's fighting, she's running across the floor, pounding the boards, and hitting double figures. 4 every second during each match, which lasts only 14 minutes. The Fever must believe that there are skilled players who can fly in their lane. Even though Chloe BBY is only here temporarily, she has shown promise, and you are still building bricks of that type. This stretch is versatile for those with a lot of energy and flexibility. She ascertains the precise flawed to get past the opposition's defenses. Caitlin Clark requires a certain amount of room. She may not be a long-term member, but she deserves the opportunity. Ari McDonald is up next. A genuine coin toss. McDonald took the lead while Clark was away. However, when Caitlin was back, the main character, will her ego ruin her role, or can she tolerate being a backup? Now contrast it with the names. The placeholders, underachievers, and veterans who draft huge agreements. Sydney Carlson, Dyrus Dantes, Natasha Howard, and Brianna Turner-Deny adding to the suffering. They are blocking the way forward. This is the reality. The future of the Fever has never looked so bright. The hat has space for them. They have selected drafts. Additionally, their women's basketball player is the most marketable. The world is full of suitable role models. Lethal spot-up shooters, hungry veterans, and selfless defenders are all watching, eager to collaborate with Caitlin.